You're listening to The KYLO Show, the podcast where we talk about how to keep your love on no matter what and why whole healthy families are going to save the world. In this week's episode, Danny and Brittney talk about the differences between men and women and how they become one in marriage. If you've ever struggled to understand the opposite sex, then this episode is for you, and it starts right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The KYLO Show. We are back and still rolling with our dating and engaged couples.
I know. It's like
this is a long series.
Like turkey and gravy.
Something like that. Turkey and gravy, or mashed potatoes and gravy, or cranberry sauce and turkey. Unless you do ham. I don't know. Maybe do ham around here. But
unless you don't live in the United States and you don't do Thanksgiving.
Any of that.
Yeah.
Then they're wondering why we're talking about food right now.
I know, because it's Thanksgiving week, season, something.
Yes, my Australian family has adopted some of the Thanksgiving traditions. They like it.
It's fun to spread the feast.
And the thankfulness. I think that's usually...
I think you can have Thanksgiving and not be an American.
Yes. We give you permission.
That's
what you were waiting for.
You should just be carrying Thanksgiving in your heart anyway.
Have some pumpkin
no
pie.
Matter where you are.
You might need to get on Pinterest for that.
Be grateful.
Exactly. Well, to dive into our topic, though, we're going to be talking about the difference of men and women.
Oh, gosh.
There is such a thing.
There's not enough time.
Oh, well, we're going to have to do as best we can for the amount of time we have. But there is a really big difference.
There is.
And you should know that, especially when you're dating the opposite sex.
I think it's what helps romance. You know, I think romance, so much of romance is I'm so in love with what I don't know about you. And men and women don't really understand each other very well, even after a long time. They're kind of like, why are you so upset? Why are you so happy? What is going on right now? It's just going to be there for a very long time, but it's super there in the beginning.
It's definitely that mystery. Trying to understand, fascinated and intrigued and romanticized by the unknown of what I'm trying to guess all the time.
And then eventually bothered. You know, I mean, I'm so interested. I'm so curious. Oh my gosh, would you knock it off? Could you knock off some of that? That just seems like
I was sitting next to Ben somewhere, and our chairs were connected, and he's tapping and moving. He's always tapping and moving.
He's a drummer.
He's a drummer, and so I'm tapping and moving just because I'm sitting next to him. And I look at him. He goes, "Am I tapping?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're tapping."
Yeah.
Which I used to think was so cute. Early days of he would drum on my steering wheel when we would drive around in my little red Honda Civic. Now when I'm like, "Can you stop? Can you please stop?"
His son does it now.
He gets the biggest smile on his face when Lincoln's drumming in the back seat.
Yeah.
I said, "Are you proud?" He's like, "I'm so proud."
Yeah. Yeah.
Lincoln will win over some girl someday because of his drumming.
Yes, Lincoln can't sit still either.
Yep. This is something that runs deep in the boys of the Serple household.
Yes.
But
that's the difference.
That's one of them.
Some of them.
Yeah. A few differences. You know, going into dating and engagement with the goal of marriage, the Bible says the two shall become one.
I always love that. I always point that out in any marriage conference, anything I do. I say, and the wedding vows exchange and the verses that we read in weddings, and the two shall become one. And then for 25 years, we fight over which one. Because there's so much difference and so much angst around, are we going to do it this way or are we going to do it that way? You say, well, I guess we're going to have to figure out how to do it a third way, which is a little bit of me and a little bit of you.
And that's true for me, discovering how to do anything together. It felt like I had to pick. Is it your way or my way?
There's a right way and a wrong way
and
here.
And that is the next thing, is that one of them feels right, one of them feels wrong. Usually what my normal...
The one I've been doing for a really long time feels right.
I think is right. And there's a lot of adjustment to making a new third option as something that is beautiful and harmonious.
And the new normal, like we talked about in the last episode, was, okay, we are going to have to build something together that we can both fit in.
The beautiful thing is we are really meant to do this together with a partner. And that's kind of, we've been moving towards this, but that's what we're doing. We're chasing after something that God has designed for us from the very beginning.
He said, it is not good for a man to live alone.
No.
So he gave him a helper, a companion, someone opposite him.
Very, very
opposite of Adam. We're like, Lord. Well, it's to complete him, really. It's to complement him. It's one to walk alongside. Interesting, that word helper is often used throughout the Bible as a word for God, Holy Spirit. And so Adam was given the gift of a God-like, Holy Spirit-like companion, more so than the traditional understanding of that is as a servant or someone to rule over. Like, well, bummer.
Yeah.
Lost a lot of years on that one.
Well, you've got a book that talks about powerful women.
True.
So, I mean, is there any... I'm going to plug it because we haven't talked about that one.
Powerful and Free. Shattering the glass ceiling for women in the church.
Yeah.
Right. Go read that, ladies.
Well, is there anything just in this topic alone that you've written about in that book?
Well, yeah, a whole chunk of it. It's all about the misperception and the delusion of women are second class. They are second class in the Bible. They're second class in Jesus. They're second class in the home. They're second class in society. You know, we can have the farther a woman gets away from the church, the more she can be herself. She can run PepsiCo or Hewlett-Packard or India, but she can't be an elder in a church. A local church of 20 people can't do that. Too big a job for a woman. So it's just ridiculousness, you know, that somehow we just fought to protect our whole history. And it's about time we got some sense.
Yeah. Which is the beauty of understanding the roles that men and women have in a relationship and the companionship and the value that they both add. And their differences bring strength to each other, and they shouldn't bring
competition.
Opposition as the goal, but really this unification that comes when we understand the partnership that's designed in heaven.
Totally. So just establishing a true foundation to operate as men and women in partnership has got to be a big part of what you bring into your dating relationship, especially in Christianity or most religious contexts have a separation, and men over here, women over there, and they're just, you know, and then they start defining it from there. But Christianity is the only one I'm aware of that calls them one. Like Paul says to the Galatians in chapter 3, he says that there's neither Greek nor Jew, which is a huge thing for a Jewish guy to be saying in that day. There's neither slave nor free. There's no class. There's no race. There's no class. And then he goes on to say there's neither male nor female. Now, he's not talking about gender confusion. He's talking about the level of integration that Christ brings to the human spirit and soul and body. And therefore, we are one in Christ, and that becomes the goal. So there's no first class, second class, anybody. There's one. We are one in Christ.
Yeah.
And we're the body. He's the head. Let's get this together, people.
Let's get it together. Figure it out. It is very true of the breakdown and working with people that are married. There has been tension in and confusion around the role that a husband has and the role that a wife has. And even in, good intentions, getting married, and I would say culture that we have now, there's such a fight for what is masculinity, what is femininity, and clarifying that role and what you bring. And if you're not careful, you end up with this confused household.
Yeah.
And you seem to be fighting to stay connected, but you've kind of flip-flopped what you're supposed to be doing. And
well, when you invite antichrist ideologies into society, for example, communism, Marxism, those types of things, it begin to attack differences as invalidating or unequal. The biblical approach is actually very equal, meaning that men and women are vital to the success of society, to family, to marriage, to happiness. But when you introduce an ideology that says women should be equal to men, meaning anything a man can do, a woman can do, well, that's where it all comes apart. Men aren't equal.
Yeah.
A jockey and a offensive lineman in the NFL are not equal. That's just, they play sports. Okay, done. We're done with the equality measure. People are not equal. No, nothing is equal. It's a fantasy that we're going to create equal, but we certainly can build complementary. We can build. Both are equally valuable as human beings. And so there we go. Now we're going to build into the family, into the society, respect, honor. And that is what equals voices. That's what equals needs. That's what equals support and resource. You're like, yeah, okay, absolutely. I want you to have the same value at this table that I do because you're made in God's image, not because I have to give you half of whatever. Like, no, you need me to reach that thing over the refrigerator. I know you do. You're not equal. And I need you to make the stroganoff that you keep making because that was awesome.
Well, I mean, only women can have children.
There we go.
This is where you break down again. You're not equal there. You can't feed the children from your body. Only women can. I sure may have been men out there thought it would be funny to try, but they'd be frustrated babies.
Yeah, well,
more so than anything.
With enough technological intervention, we can create all kinds of
confusion.
Yeah, and things that aren't going to last is the second that technology drops off, goes right back to what it was.
Yeah. I do love, the scripture that tells and lays out kind of the roles in a beautiful fashion of what the standard of love is for a husband to pursue first. And if there's ever a question in your dating relationship or engagement, that's where, for the ladies, that's where you want this man to be following. You want him on the path that's leading him to loving like Christ loved the church, and that you are his bride to be. And your willingness to give vulnerability and submission to him when you go to the next step of marriage.
Right, and she's following him doing the same thing. He's humbly serving the Lord. And as he does, she's like, yeah, absolutely, let's go. He's not the leader. Anybody following Christ is not the leader. Christ is the leader. You're just following him in front of me. You're a follower, and I'm following you. But this whole, I'm the boss, you're not, that is garbage. Whether it's church leadership or husband leadership or whatever, it's like, hey, if you're following Christ, you're a follower.
Yeah.
I'm following the follower. Do a good job. Paul says, imitate me as I follow Christ. Follow me as I follow Christ. Imitate me. be a really great follower, not be a big boss.
Yeah.
And that's where all that stuff starts coming apart, is people fighting to be the boss. But if you are fighting to be an excellent follower of Christ, everybody wants to follow you. Yeah. Everybody wants a king like Jesus.
Yeah. I think of my role with Ben. I'm very opinionated. I like to be in charge, especially when we're walking the trail. I don't mind being in front. I like it. I like to be able to see what's going on. I like reading the maps. I crave control. This is not new. You know this. But as soon as I get to a place where it feels scary or it feels overwhelming or I need assistance, I would be foolish to try and do it on my own, it feels like. Especially knowing that I have a husband that's right there, that's willing to be my protector in this moment. And whenever we had to cross this log that was down, and it was a hefty drop into this creek. Well, the creek wasn't very full, so it probably would have hit the rocks, which would have been painful. And I'm looking at it thinking, I could do it. I could muscle through this and make it happen because I'm that kind of woman. But I also thought, but I have a husband that's love for me to be safe and keep me protected is fierce. Okay. I look at him. He goes, "You want me to go first?" I said, "I do want you to go first. I want you to go across this log first to make sure that I'm not gonna die." And he's like, "Yes." And that is this part of this radical love of him being a lover of Jesus, just displaying that in a physical manifestation. And it was just, he gets across, and I'm like, okay, what adjustment should I make to do this better? And he's coaching me through it. But there's been so many places where emotionally or physically I'm exhausted, and it's not a step in, I'm going to take over because you can't do it. It's a step in, and I'm going to be a resource and a protector for you in this moment. And to be able to give and lean into that, because I'm secure enough in my independence and in my value of, I like all those things, but I trust you to help me.
And this just points to the big difference really is something I call the 90-10 in the Defining the Relationship series, where a woman's experience of that right there, which is you would sacrifice your life for me. You would go to great lengths to protect me. You know me, and I can be vulnerable. I can be weak. I can ask for help. I can need something, and you will move towards me in that moment. That flushes her with satisfaction, and the deepest needs that she has are met in that. And the man is the opposite in that he is driven to breed. He has this thing in him that is just constantly thinking about, okay, what do I got to do to take care of this relationship so that there's hope of sex? Okay, or what do you need? Okay, and so that loop, there's a 90% of what's going on with a guy, this is huge generalizations, but the bulk of what's going on with a guy is pursuing sexual, physical contact, and he's so satisfied. He's so happy. She likes me. She enjoys me. She wants to be with me. Oh. And it pushes him into his minority piece, which is satisfy her 90, which is the emotional security to be vulnerable and to be chosen, to be loved. And so he goes, okay, yeah. So the whole dating cycle is guys develop that 10% of you that fuels the 90% of her so that she'll want to fuel the 10% of her that fuels the 90% of you. And eventually you got this really nice loop.
Yeah. And that is a beautiful thing to be looking at and working on in any relationship that you're in.
Totally.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's a great illustration.
Yeah. I know somebody always pushes back on it, but it's true.
I say we were generalizing, but I think that covers a lot of people. So just keep diving in for that and that search of those little markers along the way. And that 90-10 is a good illustration to be developing the 10 that you're not naturally so good at, which in a dating and engagement relationship, the sex thing is not active, but the physical, pursuit of hand holding and affection is there, but we're not activating the sexual breeding cycles just yet.
And managing your sex drive is a huge deal for a guy, because if you don't manage it, you end up in the masturbation hut. You're on Pornhub or whatever, and you are short-circuiting the thing that drives you to pour into what's so important to her. If you short-circuit that, you'll be satisfied and you will leave her unsatisfied, which then leaves her lacking. But you want her to meet you over in your 90, and she's looking at it like, I got this conversation going on Facebook with this guy who really thinks I'm something, and he's pursuing me. Now she's short-circuiting it as well, and it's a disaster, because you're not fueling what connects you naturally. You are totally distracted and undermining your own natural process, which is manage your sex drive, manage your emotional fantasy life, and pursue one another in a way that meets those needs and completes that cycle.
Okay. Men and women, different still.
They're different animals.
Still different. All right, well, we're going to jump into questions, and we will see you guys soon.
We're right in the middle of the Loving on Purpose BFCM sale. What's BFCM? Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We got crazy deals on books, courses, workshops, and more. So if you want to take advantage of this sale, go to store.lovingonpurpose.com now.
All right, so we have our questions like we always do. And if you're interested in giving us a testimony or question, we would love to get them. So you want to go to thekyloshow.com to submit those so we can hear all the fun things that you have to give us. This first question, though, today comes from Ashley.
Hey, Danny and Brittney. Thank you so much for doing the KYLO show. Could you please break down the gender roles in marriage? How do you embrace gender and their roles in a marriage?
Well, I think we talked a lot about that just before. I think sometimes people are looking for specifics of
jobs.
Yeah.
Job descriptions.
And the woman does the cooking and the cleaning, the man does the trash and the, woodshed. I don't know that it's that cut and dry to that's how it goes. Because in our household, there's been times where I don't cut the wood. I will say that. I have filled the woodshed, and I've driven the tractor, and I've taken the trash up the half-a-mile driveway with the tractor with all three things, which is normally bench job. I've even done it when it's sprinkling. Do I want to do it? No. That's the answer. But I can. Does Ben do laundry and feed the children when I'm not home, or even me? Yes. You guys barbecue all the time. So I don't know that there's a job list as much as there are things that I definitely give to Ben. I want you to do this. I want you to be in charge of this for our family. And a lot of those are like the spiritual stuff. He's so good at displaying the Father's heart and activating a space for our kids to experience this. And I could do it, but he's so good at it. So I give it to him to do. And what I usually do is I help protect the time and rally the children into the room so that he can do it. And there's things that I'm good at, which is why I take on these roles, organizing the family, keeping things in an orderly fashion. It's a skill I have. So I think our roles as men and women, because I know what they are, because we just talked about them before, but the job lists, it really kind of falls to what are our natural talents and gifts of who we are.
Older I get, I have more experiences, and I think starting a family is like starting a business. If you had a business partner, you could sit down and write out a list of things that needs to get done, and then you would just set out to start doing it. But eventually you would learn, you're not good at this, are you?
Yeah.
Let me have that, and you do this one, because you seem to really enjoy that stuff, and I really don't like making those calls. So you're so nice to people and never met a stranger in your life, and I'm a little slow on that. So you take over that part, I'll take over this part, and let's keep working together until we find that synergy that makes our efforts multiply for benefit. And there's still going to be some stuff left on the table that has to get done, and we'll cooperate divvying that up. But let's be sure to find the things that we both really want to do, that we get to do those things, not because we have the right
Body
gender parts, yes, but because we're good at it.
Yeah.
And we'll work together as a team, and we'll get better and better at this as time goes on, and eventually we'll give some of these jobs to the kids.
Yes.
That's why we have kids, is so we can give them some jobs.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's very true. It's not so much always gender jobs as much as what we're good at. But sometimes they are gender jobs. Sometimes. I'm not very good at chopping wood.
I know. People got to kick me off the tractor. You're like,
true.
he's always on the tractor. He thinks he's the best one in the world. Well, I have the most practice so far. I'm the best, and I'm going to just hog that job until
you like that job.
until the diaper gets wet.
All right. Thanks, Ashley, for your question. This next one comes from Jaden.
Hey, Danny and Brittney. Thanks for doing the KYLO show. It has helped me live it out each day, not just have read another good book and let it be. It's incredible. I appreciate it. My question is, how do you know as a dating couple, when do you move from dating to engagement? Besides faith and bravery, when does the man propose?
I think bravery is probably, it is in there. It's that next step. I've never proposed to someone I've been proposed to, but I remember Ben describing the nerves.
Trepidation.
The excitement. I think actually when he proposed, he prayed for someone to get healed on this trail we were on. And he first didn't, and then he's yelling above them, praying for them, because he's like, if I'm going to propose today, I better just start from what I know
Get
is
some
true.
courage.
Yeah.
You got to get some courage.
But how do you know? What's the everyone wants a big glowing green light that now is the moment.
You cannot fail.
Yeah.
You cannot fail. Do it now. Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
There isn't one of those. I think, all the stuff we've talked about thus far, be sure that you're able to build a tomorrow with this person. Are they a powerful person?
Yeah.
Are they willing to be powerful, take responsibility for themselves? Are they able to move in a spirit of love consistently and know when they need to chase away their anxiety, their own fear? Will they keep the goal of connection with you?
Yeah.
Even though we've scared, hurt each other, will they get back to joy quickly? Will they pursue connection? Will they stay hopeful with that? Do they know how to communicate in a way that shows you them and not judge you? Can they be respectful in their communication? And are they willing to honor the priorities and the boundaries that you set in the relationship? Can the two of you as whole, healthy individuals participate in that together? And top is, do you like being around this person?
Yeah,
Do they like being around you?
Can you have fun together?
Yeah. So if you can check all those boxes, what are you waiting for?
And I would add your community around you, because when you're in the throes of marriage and you need someone that says, go back in there, keep fighting. You chose this person. You got to keep fighting. You need somebody that's going to help you, because who are you turning around to ask? Because it's usually not your spouse at that point, because they're the enemy. So you're looking for someone to agree with you. So my input would be making sure that you've got a community of people that have watched this relationship and are in support of it and are going to be there. So when you turn around to run, they're asking you hard questions.
Mm-hmm. Or bottom line, does that person that you're considering spending the rest of your life, do they want that? Because maybe you got married and you moved to a new place, or you've just been through whatever and you have new friends. But do they want that? Because if they want to just live isolated and don't want to be accountable, move on.
That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
But the Define the Relationship course and the Prepare and Enrich stuff is really great resource, which you can come find Ben and I for that.
That's true.
If you're interested. All right. Well, that's it for all of our questions. They were good questions this time. So again, if you've got questions for us, check out thekyloshow.com. And we're going to move into testimonies.
Awesome.
All right, one more PSA about the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale happening right now. These are some of the best deals of the year. So if you want to get an early Christmas gift, or maybe you want to pick up Successful Confrontation e-course before your in-laws come this holidays, go ahead and take advantage of the deals and promotions going on right now at store.lovingonpurpose.com. Again, that's store.lovingonpurpose.com to get your Black Friday Cyber Monday deals right now.
All right, so our testimony for today comes from Sarah.
When I think about how my life has dramatically changed over the past 5 years or so after reading KYLO and getting more immersed into the Loving on Purpose resources, I am honestly just so blown away by what my life looks like right now. I feel like a different person, honestly. How I go about my relationships in family and with friends, just everything just feels different. Like I feel like I put on a set of glasses that I did not have before, and I can see things more clearly. And I'm just so thankful for the work that you guys are doing and for how accessible everything is right now. So really a big fan of the KYLO show, of Life Academy, of the books that you guys release. It is life-changing. And I can think of two major ways that I've seen this play out in my life. The first is that I realized that I did not know how to protect connection. Honestly, I don't know if connection was ever a priority for me before learning about this stuff. I think I was just at a basic level of, if we were functioning somewhat okay in a relationship, we're good. Are you mad? No, I'm not mad. Cool. And like, that was it. But recognizing when you do make it a priority to protect connection, like you experience true joy in relationships. And I didn't realize that I wasn't living from that place, that it wasn't something that I could experience because I never knew it existed. So now that is definitely something that I prioritize in my relationships and investing in connection with other people. And I have just seen so much fruit, and I've experienced so much joy feeling connected to people. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm so glad it exists. The second piece that I can say that has changed in my life dramatically is that I now give people the opportunity to be powerful. I didn't realize that I was actually not doing that I would call it love, but really I was just controlling people. So I was trying to love people by controlling them, and it did not play out well for either party. I was just stuck in a cycle of disappointment because I would tell somebody what to do if there was an issue. They would do it, maybe, but I never gave them the opportunity to actually own a problem. There was no identification of the problem. It was just, do this and we'll be good. So we were just always stuck in a cycle of frustration and pain and disappointment. So when I learned about KYLO and actually talking about, okay, what is the problem? Whose problem is it? and am I working harder on this than somebody else is? It alleviated so much stress in my life because I was able to say, okay, this is not actually mine to own. And if I try to own it for you, I'm actually doing a disservice to both of us. So now I have better boundaries with my relationships. And I love that I don't have to be the bad guy all the time, that I don't have to be the one that always tries to basically control someone into doing what is right or what is good. So I am just so thankful again for KYLO and for everything that you guys do. It has been such a game changer in my life. And KYLO is a book that it will show up on all of my friends' doorsteps. I will go on Amazon and I will just say, you need to read this book because it is going to change your life. So thanks again so much.
Sarah.
Sarah. We love Sarah.
We love Sarah. Well, that was just a really great teaching.
She covered it. She covered all the bases. I mean, she's well-versed in pulling it apart even for you in her testimony of what it means to be a powerful person.
If you ever want to make yourself cry, just watch those YouTube videos of people getting those, they were colorblind and then they get those glasses from, they're usually older people, so they've lived a bulk of their life not seeing color, and they all cry.
Yeah.
They all cry. It's so fun. So when she said it was like I put on some glasses, that's the first thing I thought was, and all of a sudden you see things that you did not know were there. They were there the whole time. You just didn't see them. And she brought out 2 beautiful points.
Yeah, she did. I know Sarah, and we love Sarah, and Ben got to work with Sarah. So she's a firecracker. That's probably why I like her.
She's single. Oh, you guys know.
She's single. She's looking for all these things. She's not just looking for fun. She's
she got her glasses on.
She does. She will not be fooled by rose-colored glasses. She's got some good glasses that are got some real focus to them. But yeah, being around her and she's not afraid of feedback or hard conversations or knowing in her discovery of how to do things right or how to apply these tools in her relationships. There's been some hard conversation. There's been some hard situations, some stuff you have to look at, and she's always been willing to do that. And what's hers to own and what's hers of, that limit of I can't control anyone, which is really a scary and painful place to be in when you're used to just telling people what to do and being the scary person that controls. Doesn't really, but you think you do. Yeah. It can feel frustrating to look at a situation in a new way of I don't actually have any control here and I have to be okay with the painful decisions that are going to be made and that they don't impact, my ability to love you, to keep loving you, and pursuing that connection, like she just talked about, and knowing kind of that there's this beautiful place where I get to keep my connection towards you and my heart towards you. And she's definitely done that in so many different ways, getting to watch her do that.
And lots of people, they have a real high level of responsibility. Sarah's one of them, and she's a leader. She's going to step up and take that responsibility. She's going to take that leadership role. And if you don't understand those things about whose problem are you working on, who has the problem, and am I working harder on this than you are, if you don't get that, then you exhaust yourself trying to fix things you don't control because you think you have the responsibility to produce a result. And then when that person doesn't let you control them, or they're not you, they're not going to do it the way you do it, you just get frustrated, and eventually you're so fed up with people that you're kind of angry all the time. And so I think one of the things that she's describing is I get to be me all the time, no matter what terrible job you're doing with you.
And not being the bad guy. I think
that's
not being angry
means
you don't look like the bad guy. You don't run around being the bad guy because you're frustrated.
Yeah, because I feel so powerless like I'm failing, like I'm being irresponsible, like I did something wrong because you didn't get your homework done, or you can't find your jacket, or you bounced a check, or whatever. She's free.
Yeah.
She's free and happy and absolutely delightful to be around.
She is a powerful young woman. Very fun to be around, and we love her. And great. I mean, she just taught for us for the first half of her testimony. So
I know she did a great job.
We're just putting the gravy on for you, Sarah. Good job. We love it.
Super good.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on the KYLO Show. And remember that whole healthy singles and engaged and dating and married and children. We'll just throw everybody in there. Everybody
are going to save the world. Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to join us next week when Danny and Brittney talk about the things you have to do before getting married. Never miss an episode of The KYLO Show by subscribing to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch us on the Loving on Purpose YouTube channel. Don't forget to submit your questions and testimonies to thekyloshow.com. The KYLO Show was produced by Ali Armerding, co-produced by Ashley Beck, Leah Alexander, Anna Hill, and Sherry Silk, sound engineer and edited by Taylor Silk, and show promoter Christian Zamora. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.